I'm sure the number one question on everybody's mind is the one I'm going to answer first. When are we getting orange pineapple trim sticks? I'm sure that's the number one question everybody wants to know. So the short answer to that is it's not October yet. If you remember, the combination on the lock was 8/1/2, 8/12. Combination was 8/12 because that was the date, 8/12, that we launched orange pineapple trim sticks. It was our hope that this year we would, October 37th would also be 8/12. Well, it's not going to be 8/12. We have other priorities with our supply chain and all the things we're working on that come before getting orange pineapple trim sticks out to everybody. So we'll have it out to you sometime in September, most likely, but it is almost for certain not going to be in August. So just make sure you understand October is still coming. It's still in the pipeline. Things are still moving forward very positively. But no, we're not making an announcement about orange pineapple trim sticks tonight. We are, however, pretty excited about where we're going. And I hope you saw or thought about the underlying message from the Quick Start promo that we launched on Saturday, because there's not so hidden messages in that promo. And to talk about that and our momentum and where we're going, 6 feet away, Curtis Call.
Thank you, Russ. And thank you all for joining us tonight as we give you an update. We wanted to share with you really quickly that on the heels of what was our best July in company history, and the first time in company history that a July has beat April of the same calendar year, and 78% growth year over year. This July was 78% bigger than last July. All are great metrics. But on the heels of that, we want to let you know we're ready to run. We're ready to go again. We have everything we need for you to go. Josh is going to give you an update here in a minute on where we stand with shipping, but we literally have every product that we need to build systems in the warehouse and ready to ship, with the exception of lean chocolate. We also have all products in the warehouse with the exception of the lean chocolate and Prime and Shine, which are all on their way to us, but we can ship systems. Josh is going to tell you what we're doing there, how far we've caught up. We're ready to go. We want you guys to know that now is the time to put your foot back on the gas and go again. So as Russ was saying, the Quick Start promotion was designed to say, tell your new people they can go. Sign up new distributors, convert people from member to distributor, and let those distributors run the way that you had them running back in late April and all through the month of May. And let's get the enroller engine churning again. I was sharing with some of our internal team earlier today that we had about a 20% decrease in the number of enrollers last month from our peak back in May. But we only saw about a 15% decrease in those that were what we refer to as return enrollers, people who have enrolled before enrolling again in the month. But at the new enroller level, we saw a 70% decline. That's the group of people we need to get going again. It's your new people. It's to get that new blood excited, get them running. And so the Quick Start bonus was designed to do that. It's designed to reward you for getting people going. Remember, if you get 2 people on your front line to earn a Quick Start bonus, not only do they get a doubled bonus, but you get $100 for doing that, and it's for every 2 that you do. It also is a great way to get people making their final push towards Founders Club, as getting 2 people on their front line to get a Quick Start not only gets them a $100 bonus, gets them 10 Founders Club points. It counts as 2 of their unique accounts. The 10 heads, the 10 people, the 10 shims, as you guys like to call them. But absolutely, now is a time to go again. Here's something exciting that you need to know. We closed July already as the 3rd best year in Zingular company history. Now keep in mind, I said year. In 7 months, we have surpassed all but 2 other years in total sales, and by the end of this month, we will surpass the last 2 years, which are our best 2 years, and this will be the best year in company history, with an additional 4 months plus to go to just add to that total. And so we're on a great run right now. It's time for us to pick up our pace, put our foot back on the gas, whatever analogy you want to use, and go again. But the thing I really wanted to stress tonight is go confidently, knowing that we are ready. The inventory is here. We have everything we need to be shipping and getting those orders out the door. We're reliant on our partners to do it, and Josh will explain that to you. But there's nothing holding us back right now, so don't let anything else hold you back. August is our month to turn it on again, to go again, to run again, and we are excited about that. There have been a lot of people here at the corporate office putting in a lot of hours and a lot of extra hours and doing a lot of work to get us into this position where we sit today. And we're excited by that. And we're motivated to go back to what Russ talked about months ago when he spoke to all of you at Zing Flame. And he said, let's keep the momentum going and explode into Fest. If you remember, the phrase Russ used was explode into Fest. And we faced some challenges that we didn't see coming. And they've been hard things that we've had to endure over the last couple of months. But now's the time to pick back up on that vision and explode into Fest. And it's going to be totally worth it, and the effort that we can all put in over the next couple of months.
Do you know what it feels like a little bit?
What's that?
Didn't we run this same promo in January?
We did run the same promo in January.
It feels a little bit like a restart. It feels like a kickoff to a new year, albeit only 5 months long. But it feels like we're ready to run again. Just like at Founders Club in January, we said, it's time to run. Guess what? It's time to run.
If you had told me, Russ, that a year had gone by since January to now, I would believe you, because it's felt like a year. But it's a really good point, right? It's a good restart. It's time for us to now say, what can we accomplish from August through the end of this year? And I think it's great things. Just like we were saying how we've had great growth year over year. We're going to have our best year in company history. We want to see just how far we can take that goal as we continue to add to our revenue for this year. But we are excited about this. And I told you on Friday night when I posted in the Executive and Above page that we were going to have an exciting announcement for you tonight related to our progress over the weekend and where we sit with shipping. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn this over to Josh Gagan, and he's going to give you an update on the progress we've made, where we think we will be over the next 5, 6, 7 days. So Josh, let's hear it.
All right. Hey, thanks, Curtis. Good evening, everyone. Excited to be with you guys. And as Curtis mentioned, I'm excited about the progress we've made over the last week. And so I'll share some of that good news with you guys and kind of give you a vision for where we're going over this week so you can understand where we anticipate to be by the end of this week. So the first thing I want to start with is systems. So the great news is that we're working our way through systems in a very quick manner. We've shipped 99.8% of systems from June, so there's a few lingering ones from June that we know that we're working on to get those out. We've already shipped 57.5% of the systems from July, but here's the good news. Those are all the partial systems that have been going out the door. But today, we finished 2 production runs, one of core for 1,500 core systems that are in their nice complete boxes. It's an entire core system that has been completed, and we have 1,500 of those ready to go out the door starting tomorrow. And so tomorrow and Wednesday, those will be shipping out. And by the way, that 1,500 will fill all the remaining orders for core systems. That takes you all the way to even through early this morning when I pulled that data. That will catch you not only up for the June to July, but also the first couple days of August here. So the core systems, we also are building 2,500, and those are completing tonight. We have 2,500 Ignite systems that are going to be in their complete boxes, and these are complete Ignite systems. So again, great news there. We'll be shipping those out, and once those start shipping out tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday, then that catches all the Ignite systems for the new global blend, not the old global blend, but the new global blend. But that's the type of progress we're making. We're then starting to follow that up with all the other systems, and we have production in for all of those this week. They're going to be finishing more tomorrow in production, so you'll start seeing those normal boxes and those normal systems coming out. Now, keep in mind, the ultimate systems that are getting built this week, they're still going to be minus the lean chocolate. So they'll come in their nice box, but they're not going to have the lean chocolate in there. And so just know that the lean chocolate will come. We haven't lost that part of the order, but those ones won't have lean chocolate till middle of the month when that lean chocolate comes back in. So that's the great news on the systems, is we're making progress. And again, by the end of this week, we fully anticipate that with systems, we'll be pretty well caught up with the backlog of system orders. So that's great news there. As far as the open stock, and again, remembering what open stock orders are to us, Jesse Pitcock, I think, asked us this question last week when we were talking about open stock. These are the orders that aren't systems. They may have been part of a system, and then we ship the partial, and then you have flush or action remaining. That becomes an open stock order to us. So on open stock orders, we were able to ship out over 43,000 orders, and those are complete orders now. We're not shipping partial orders anymore of those. And so we were able to ship out 43,000 orders last week alone. At that rate, it would be 160,000 orders a month, which means we'd be caught up. So our anticipation, here's the good news. Our anticipation is that by the end of this week, again, based on what we're working on with our warehouses, if we can fulfill what we have anticipated by the end of this week, we should be caught up with all open stock orders from June and July as well, and any lingering stuff from May that may still be out there. Those should be caught up through by Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. Now, that is based on current anticipation. As Curtis mentioned, we have all the inventory in the warehouse that we need to do that, other than the Prime and Shine that he mentioned, and the lean chocolate limited quantities that we have. But we have all that inventory in the warehouse. It's just a matter of getting through that. And based on the run rate that we have with our warehouse, we feel that we can get there this week. That then means that next week, the second week of August, that takes us into finalizing any of those lingering orders that may be from July. But that takes us really, next week, we're now shipping the first week of August orders and getting into the second week of August. So we're hopeful that by the end of next week, we're actually caught up to the order timeline. So hopefully that gives you confidence that as you start having customers this week, you can start telling them that any orders placed kind of at the end of this week, they should start falling back into those normal shipping timelines of 10 days. And so that's positive news. And again, it's great progress for us. We're super excited about it. I saw that Lori Ulrich had posted the question of when will the subscription orders be caught up? And Lori, hopefully that answers that question, that if it was a subscription order from June or July that for some reason was missing some product, hopefully this week should be we should be able to get those out the door and get those caught up. And I will again caveat that with Prime and Shine that will not be the case with Prime and Shine, because those are still out of stock right now for those orders that have that on them. But
Josh,
go ahead.
To clarify, you're saying that by the end of this week, we anticipate all orders from May, June, or July, with the exception of there's always a few outliers, that's just normal course of business, would be caught up. And by the end of next week, we'll be caught up into our normal shipping window, even with August orders?
Yeah, Curtis, that's the anticipation right now, is that by the end of this week, like you said, that would kind of catch us up through the June and July orders. And then next week, we'd start catching up. We would start shipping the first week of August, and that shouldn't take us too long to catch up. They'll take a few days, like 2 or 3 days to catch up. And then the last part of next week, we then would be shipping the current week, the second week of August, by the end of that week.
So what you're saying is we're going to be caught up, like caught up.
So you're saying there's a chance.
They're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, Russ, that is. And again, we say that, and that's based on the best information we have right now from our warehouse. And again, looking at the production runs from what they've been doing and what their run rate, their current throughput that they've been working through with us, we feel comfortable, we feel confident in there, but that there may be some changes, which may mean that, maybe some of that bleeds into early next week to finish up the end of July orders. But right now, based on all the information we have, that we're feeling pretty excited, quite frankly, to be able to get caught up with all those June and July orders and start worrying about the August orders.
And Josh, that includes when you say order, it includes all order types, initial orders, subscription orders, everything. People that are waiting on a fragment of an order they didn't receive when we shipped partial, that's all shipping.
Yep, that's right, Curtis. And the exception, again, is the Prime, the Shine. And then the lean chocolate, just to clarify on the lean chocolate, we still do have limited quantities in our warehouse that we're still shipping out. And so some of those orders that maybe someone from June may not have, they're like, well, don't have my lean chocolate yet. we have some quantities still available, but they've been allocated to those orders. And so when we say the lean chocolate, really it's for the orders kind of middle July forward time frame. That their lean chocolate may still be delayed, but we still have quantities of lean chocolate. So you still will get customers that have lean chocolate arriving to them. And just for this team's knowledge, again, as we've been telling you, we anticipate lean chocolate will be coming back in stock with the next order sometime right in the middle of August.
Awesome. I love it. As you guys can see, great progress has been made. Josh and Weston and our supply chain team have just been incredible, ensuring that on our end, we've taken care of the things we need to take care of. We got our inventory, we got it to the warehouse. We're now relying on them. Josh has a plan in place, and if the plan goes according to plan, then we're going to be caught up on the timeline that he shared. Now, one thing to clarify is we will have the shipments out the door by the end of this week or early next week. Your customers are going to still then have shipping time according to the carrier and the delivery times and things like that. So don't go tell your customers they're going to have their product by the end of the week, or that they're going to have their product even by Monday or Tuesday of next week. Allow for us to ship it by then, and then still have that additional time. But according to when an order is placed and how quickly we're shipping it, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be back into our regular shipping window. And Russ, I'm pretty excited about that. How are you feeling about it?
Well, in addition to that, our statement from last week was that we anticipated being able to begin shipping the free systems that everybody earned in May, beginning right around the 15th of the month. That's looking very positive. 15th of the month, right around there, we're going to start shipping out. All of those free systems will start shipping. Again, it takes some time to get to people, give it a few days.
Yeah.
Around the 15th of the month, we're going to start shipping in the pretty boxes the complete free systems that people earned from May.
And when you say complete, Josh, those are going to include the lean chocolate at that point?
Yeah, and that's Curtis. That's why we're waiting until the middle of the month, is because we're waiting for that next batch of lean chocolate to get in, and then we have all those orders that we need to get out. Once that batch gets into our warehouse, we will build those systems. The Trim Down Trio chocolates, we'll build those, and the Ignite systems, we'll have them built and ready to go out as well. So that's kind of what the delay in those systems is. We're waiting for that chocolate to come back in.
Awesome. To quote Cal Estadell, fan-frickin-tastic, says.
Thank you. And so, Curtis, I'm glad you brought up the fact of that's when we anticipate it will ship out. So your customers, they may experience it, but they won't get it by then. You know, and if I'm being honest with you, again, if you might want to just say, hey, listen, it's great news. It's going to be shipping this week or early next week, because you'd hate to say it ships this week, and then if it doesn't, like you say, our warehouse gets behind a day, and it ships on Monday, then you may have an angry customer. So I'd give yourself that little buffer as well.
Right. Great. Awesome, Josh. Thank you for that update. A couple of other things to update you guys on. Founders Club points for those people who we gave the additional 30 days, so they had a 60-day window to earn their quick start. We had told you when we did that those wouldn't automatically appear in the Founders Club tracker as Founders Club points. Jeremy gave us an update just a little bit ago that all of those points earned by people who use that 60-day window through last month, those points will be added by the end of this week. And so you can look for those to start populating through the Founders Club tracking system as well. And then on the member service side, our member service team continues to do a fantastic job under Jamie's leadership. We have successfully brought in already about half of the additional hires we told you about a few weeks ago. We have another group in training today. We have successfully onboarded an outsourced partner to help us with calls and emails. And so making great progress in catching up on the member service side as well. Now, if you called in today, you may have said, well, that's not what I experienced. But I want to remind you, Mondays are always the busiest days for our member service team, especially when it's the first day in business after the close of the month. So because our last day of the month was a Friday night, this is our first day back open since then. And it just makes for a really high call volume. But that was true even before the pandemic. But when we're looking at the overall numbers and the way that calls are happening and our response times over the course of now full weeks, such as last week, we're seeing major improvements. We expect those to continue to improve this week as well. So some really positive things happening on our member service side as well. With that, we'll remind you that to ask questions tonight, to use the Q&A feature on the bottom of your screen. Try not to put them in the chat. They get missed over there. But if you'll go to the QA feature at the bottom of your screen as two speech, little speech balloons above the letters Q and A, click on that. You'll be able to submit questions to us. So should we dive into those?
Dive in, let's go.
All right, I have to scoot closer.
Yeah, because if I get closer, we're not socially distanced, so you get to read it.
This one's going to be for you, Josh. Tara Kelly is asking, she's stating she still has some individuals that are waiting for products from May, and she's curious when those will ship.
Yeah, so Tara, what those are is probably primarily related to some Action. So Action just got off QA test. If you remember last week, we told you that there were some of it that we had to get our quality testing completed, and that got off. And so since we didn't want to ship partial systems, we've been holding it because we knew it was just a matter of days before that happened. And so we've been holding those orders. So Tara, those are the first orders we'll be getting to over this week. They'll start shipping those orders out to get the remaining May type orders out the door. And I would probably bet that on that order, there's probably an Action or because that's usually what's been holding any remaining May orders up. But again, those will be going out this week.
Hey, I want to highlight something Josh said. It wasn't part of the question, but just so I'm not sure you picked up on what he said. The Action was in quality testing. During all this, trying to rush things out, trying to get everything to you as fast as we could possibly get it to you. We've never stopped verifying the quality. Quality still had to pass all the tests, still had to be the absolute perfect top level quality we can provide for you. So yes, we could have sped things up by not doing quality testing. One, that's not kosher. That's not a good thing to do. And two, we weren't going to do that. That's not how we made sure that everything we're shipping out is the same top quality Zingular product you've been accustomed to. So you went through that fast, Josh, but they just got released from quality today, so we're ready to ship them now.
Yeah. Yep.
Josh, you may have said this before, and if you did, I apologize because I missed it. But Terry Bryan is asking if we have an estimate on when Shine will begin shipping again.
Yeah, so Shine, Curtis, based on our last discussions, is it's in production. It should be getting to us the third week of August. So unfortunately, that is a few more weeks out there. But that's the current. We're trying to move up production and everything we can do, but right now that's the timeline that our manufacturers telling us that we can get it.
All right. Jennifer is asking, are we quoting 5 to 7 business days to ship or ship in 10 business days? I think I understand the gist of this question. We are not back in our normal 5 to 7 business day window yet. So right now, to manage expectations of your customers, a longer number is better. And so, as Josh said, getting caught up with the June, July orders for the most part by the end of this week. I would still tell those people it might be early next week. People who are ordering this week, you should still tell them that it may take through the end of next week before their order will ship. And then what you'll see happening over the coming weeks is you'll see that we can start to say shorter and shorter till we're back into that 5 to 7 shipping day window. But right now, just maintain a longer window because it helps you manage those expectations better. Katie Ray is asking, can we tell our teams we are expecting more chocolate in stock next week?
No. So the answer, Katie, the answer to that one is no. We won't have lean chocolate really in stock until the middle of August timeframe. And so I would just tell anyone that's currently ordering anything with lean chocolate, whether it be a subscription, a trimmed down trio chocolate, even though I think that still has the grayed out image on it on the shopping cart. If they order it, I would just be honest and upfront with them, just saying, hey, listen, just so you know, that this product isn't anticipated to come in until about the middle of August, so that they have that expectation from the very outset.
Awesome. Stacy Loftus is asking, any thoughts on extending July enrollments to a 60-day quick start period? Stacy, we've talked about that, and we've elected to not do that. We saw that a dramatic decline in the number of people by percentage that were joining as distributors in July, knowing there were long delays. the expectation was that those that were joining were ready to build businesses and jump in and go, and those that weren't ready to build were joining as members at the time. And so we have not made that extension to people in July, and we're not planning to make an extension to those people at this time. Cynthia is asking, when do we stop telling them about the 35 points on subscriptions for 10 days not leaving the warehouse? Do you want to answer that one, Josh?
Yeah, Cynthia, I believe on our website, the landing page, we had said that through July that was existing. But certainly for the month of August, I think that's no longer going to be the case, given the fact that we are getting caught up and we should be back to our normal time lanes. And again, we're super confident that there should be very few of those, if any, quite frankly. Once we get this week kind of caught up, we go moving through the rest of August, we should be able to get it out. But we shouldn't have anything like we experienced with May and June and July, nothing like that to that extent, not even close.
All right. Rebecca Alt's asking, are we offering anything to our June customers who haven't yet received all of their shipment, as it's been 2 months and a few days, like the $100 cash voucher?
So if you remember, Rebecca, that's Rebecca's question, right?
Yep.
When we offered the $100 cash, the product voucher to the people from May, we offered it at XLC on that Friday, the 10th. If we get to the 10th of August and there's still outstanding orders from June, similar to what we did for those in May, we'll revisit at that time, but our expectation is we will offer that at that time, but not at this point. At this point, we think we're just going to get them all through, as many as possible, and hopefully all of them through this week.
Tom is asking about a timeline for the Trio and Ignite earned on the May promo. Tom, as Josh said earlier, and Russ said, we're looking at middle of the month getting those shipped out. And we're holding those because when we ship them, we anticipate that the lean chocolate will be here and we'll be able to ship complete orders that aren't missing anything to those that earn those free orders. So the plan is still for those to start going out in a couple of weeks. All right, Stan asked the same question you just answered. Sarah Brown is asking, what would be the reason the $100 credit isn't on the account of those who haven't had their order completed for May yet? So Josh or Jeremy.
I think maybe a Jamie question.
Yeah, the ones
that have received that don't see it.
So we've had these coming up, and the ones that we've looked into thought that they should have had it, but they didn't actually qualify. Either it shipped right before the 10th when we started doing it, or there was some other thing going on. But most of the ones, like 95% of the ones we've looked at on a case-by-case basis, actually didn't qualify. So if there are some that you're seeing, definitely send them in and we can look at them, but just know that that's what we've been finding.
Jamie, do you want those sent in via their leader support reps?
Yes, that would be fantastic.
And if you don't know what I mean when I say leader support, that's the official name of the elite reps. All right. So I think some people missed this. They're asking us to maybe just to address it one more time. Josh, expected dates for Shine and Prime?
Yeah, so Shine is what we're being told is the third week, and Prime's around that same time as well. Quite frankly, we're focused a lot more on the Shine to try to get that in. We have a lot more orders for that for that product. So, but Prime should be around that same time. It may be a little bit more delayed as we try to say, hey, maybe push Prime off a little bit so we can get the Shine if possible faster. But right now, both would be around that third week of August is the anticipated date.
All right, thank you for clarifying again. This is maybe less of a question than seeking some clarity on how we organize the orders to go out, if you could explain it. But Jennifer McKinney is saying a lot of May people are still waiting on their Accelerate. They're seeing June and July orders getting it, but some May that are still waiting. So can you address that, just kind of the order of things and what we're doing to address that?
Back to the system strategy.
Well, yeah, and it goes back to, again, we're trying not to ship any more partial orders. And so the people that are getting their July Accelerate is because they probably didn't have it lumped in with an Action, which we were waiting to get the QA test releases on. And it also could be that it's coming from Atlanta because Action got released in Atlanta a little bit earlier than the one here in Salt Lake. And so, but typically when that happens, Jennifer, it's because the Accelerate wasn't lumped in with some other product that was holding up the whole order, which is usually the Action. Whereas the May ones, usually there's Action on that order. And that's been kind of holding it up, and we didn't want to ship everything but the Action. We're just holding it so that we can just ship it all out at once. And that's going to be this week. Those are the ones that we're trying to get through this week.
And Josh, sort of related to that, why are some systems being sent out prior to individual orders for May and June?
Why are individual systems being sent out?
Yeah, I think that's why I say it's a related question. People are receiving systems before people waiting on individual orders.
Oh, yeah, and the reason for that is, again, we're doing the production. If you remember the system strategy, even the partial system strategies, we continue to produce systems. We need to keep caught up on those. We can't stop producing systems so that we can focus on just the open stock, because the open stock we can get out the door. Again, we shipped 43,000 orders last week alone, which is usually 1 month's worth of orders under our old paradigm. So we continue to build systems. Like, for instance, I mentioned, and keep in mind, the production of systems is separate from the shipping lanes right now. And so they can produce systems while they're still shipping some of these open stock orders. And then when the systems get done and produced, they put them into the shipping line, and then they get sent out the door. So we continue to produce systems. Like, we just finished those 1,500 core that I was telling you about, and the 2,500 Ignite. Those are getting finished, and when they get done, we don't hold them. We put them right into the production line to try to get them out the door as fast as we can, along with the other open stock items. And so that creates some of that mismatch where people are still getting systems before someone in June is getting their Action and their flush. So that's still going to happen.
All right. Ashley Richard is asking if there was a change to the XR2 formulation. The newer bottles shipping have a strong scent of peppermint.
Yeah. So, that's an interesting question. And honestly, with me being relatively new to kind of helping out with supply chain, I didn't know the answer to it until Weston, who is amazing, our supply chain expert here, he just responded and said, well, we coat, so all of our XR2 has a coating of peppermint on it. So to kind of help with the smell and the flavoring, it has a coating of peppermint on it. And he said the reason why it may feel like it's stronger is because the moment it's coming into the door, we're shipping it out. And so it may be because it's not sat on our shelves for a month or 2 months, however long. And so that may be what's causing that. But just know that there is a peppermint kind of coating on the XR2 to help with flavor and smell. And since it's more fresh and it's flying off the lines from our manufacturer, getting to our warehouse, and once we make sure it's got QA test, we throw it out the door. And so that's probably why it's happening. But no, we have not changed the formula.
The funny answer is, and the reason why we were chuckling is, it's always had that. It just has gotten you slow enough that it's mostly worn off by the time you got it. So we weren't laughing that it's actually a funny question, but it's always had that. It just, nobody really noticed before.
Yeah, and so just to put your minds at ease, so you don't have to worry, it's going to revert back to its former smell here in a couple weeks. Nobody liked that.
Nobody liked that joke, no.
Tanya Moulton is clarifying our free systems will come with chocolate lean. Yes, what we advertised were that you would get a trimmed down trio chocolate and Ignite with vanilla, so that people who got both would have one of each. But for those that have something that has chocolate in it, absolutely. That's why we're waiting at this point, and it will come out with chocolate in it. I do not know who this is from. It's a zingularzoom.us address. So what I'm going to say to this person, you're asking about a June 30th Ultimate that hasn't received anything. Send me a text with the name and order number, and we'll look into that for you.
Yep.
Terry Bryant, how is ZingFest looking? Many distributors are asking about booking airfare and etc. When will this decision be made or announced? Terry, we have been spending most of the last couple of weeks gathering information related to ZingFest and what the plan is going to be. We have a meeting tomorrow, literally tomorrow, to make a final decision on what our plan is. And that meeting may trigger us into figuring out what other things we need to communicate. So we may not be making an announcement tomorrow, probably not, but sometime in the coming week, if not on this Zoom next Monday, for sure. By then, we will have an announcement for you on what the plan is for Zine Fest.
The only other thing I would add to that is hold off a week. Don't make travel plans this week.
Melissa Corbin is asking for May orders, is the $100 credit given even if they got a partial order? So Melissa, just to clarify, the $100 credit was given to people who, as of July 10th, still had a partial or part of their order that had not shipped. It wasn't based on whether they had received it or not. It was based on whether we had shipped it out the door. So we had that list of people, and those credits have been applied based on if they had any portion of their order that hadn't shipped as of the 10th of July. Carolee is asking if there's going to be plenty of action back in stock for people to add it to their August orders, will it back order again? Do you want to answer that one, Josh?
Yeah, Carol Lee, this is one of those where even though it's coming in, there's such a backlog for it that we are watching it super close for the next order to come in. We have the next order coming in around the third week of August. And so we are, right now, we're watching it closely. We're hopeful that it won't stock out again, but to say that it won't would probably be dishonest because I don't know, depends on where the sales go. But here's the good thing. Is even if it does go back out, based on like our current projections, even if we went back to kind of the June levels of sales, it's out for a matter of like 5 days. And so it's not going to be back to the May thing and the June thing where it's out for months. It's out for a period of 5 days. We would if that were to happen, we would build the systems, we'd get them out to you, and then we would fulfill the action. So that is one item that, just given the number of back orders that are still demanding it, we're hopeful that our manufacturer can get it to us a little bit earlier, but if not, it depends on how sales go. But again, it will be nothing like May. It'll be nothing like June. It'll be a period of 5-ish days, and then it would be back in stock, and we'd be back and running again with action.
Right. I noticed over in the comments that Terry Bryant said that they are taking one action each. They're rationing it in the Bryant home. So Terry, you guys will be able to go back up to 2 a day here soon. Christine Rector, do you guys know how much we appreciate your hard work? And Christine, the answer is yes. We've read your comments. We've received texts from so many of you. And honestly, the gesture you all made to our employees this past month, where you collected funds and sent them gift cards to be able to go have a meal on you guys, very much appreciated by our entire team here. So yes, I think we know, but thank you. Because I understand the statement behind the question as well. We appreciate all of you and your understanding of what our entire team has had to go through here over the last couple of months. We appreciate that. Last question here, Russ, I'm going to direct this one to you. Mike and Teresa Dennison, one of the two of them anyway, is saying, looking forward, what strategies are we looking at to prevent product backorder pains like this from happening again when the engine gets revved back up?
So a couple of things are going into this, Mike and Teresa. It's probably Shaylin, really, to be honest. It's probably Shaylin asking the question. So the unanticipatable things are unanticipatable by definition. When things surge, you can't know that they're going to surge in a way that you can completely prepare for them. And when we have 600% growth, there's just no way to deal with that other than keeping way too much inventory on hand and tying up your cash that way. So all we can do is work with our manufacturers to be prepared with higher levels of safety stock and faster turnaround and additional suppliers, all of which we're working on. We're in the process of making sure that all of those things are in place. To Josh's point about the stock out times being shorter should it happen at all, if there were another surge, even like May, our stock out times for only a few products would be in the days, not weeks, because we've already accelerated a lot of those timeframes. So the things we can do are work with our inventory management to keep a higher amount of safety stock. The company is bigger now, and so we simply have to keep more on hand. That's fine. That's exciting. We're prepared to do that. To work on shorter shipping times. We kept our times pretty close to normal, even as our competitors were experiencing much longer than normal delays. That's because of the relationship we already had with our existing suppliers. And then the third one is to increase, to have sort of backup or secondary suppliers on hand. We're working toward that in the future so that when you surge again, and we fully expect the company to surge again in the future, we're ready for it.
Hey, Russ, can I add one thing to that too? One of the major things we also learned on that was we'll implement a partial system strategy a lot sooner than we did this last time. That's one thing that we learned, right? I mean, that's one thing we tried to hold off in May, whereas if we know it's going to be a problem in the future, again, we don't anticipate it right now, but in the future, if that happens again, we'll implement that partial system strategy again, which will help us tremendously stay much more current on orders and getting stuff as new stuff comes in, getting it out the door. So, well, that's one thing we also learned from this. That's something we can do and we can control. That if we know there's going to be a stock out, we'll start building partial systems like we did, minus that one product or those two products, so that we can get the majority of that system into your hands as fast as possible.
All right, Wendy, if you're there, I think this is a question that you can help with. Melissa Corbin is asking, how can we help with the Zingular corporate Facebook page responses?
Can you hear me? Curtis? Sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead,
Oh,
Wendy.
sorry. That's actually a really good question, and something we've gone back to a few people who've done a really good job of helping us out, and thanked them and asked them to continue. We have a small team managing it, but there are a lot of comments coming in on some of those pages, and sometimes they sneak past us. They did on Friday. I know a lot of people saw it and were embarrassed by some of the commentary that was happening and that we hadn't gotten to it quickly enough. But when we do, what we find often is that some of our leaders have gotten in and corrected some of the statements or provided some assistance in just saying, listen, you may not know Zingular, but we do, and here's how they deliver for us. Just be patient. If you see something and you feel like you can say something to give some credibility to the company and share your experience, please do it. We're really grateful for those of you who step in and say, I know them and I know that they're working hard to get answers to you. We appreciate the help when you're out there, but we also are actively looking and constantly trying to work through some of the comments, making sure that we're being fair to those who post and not just deleting. We certainly can't do that. It's just not an ethical behavior, but we're very careful about how we treat it and then communicate back with those who are frustrated. But a little help and assistance, just a little cheerleading from the field is always helpful, especially when we're dealing with frustrated customers who just don't know us. It's the best I can give you right now, but there will be some training that will come out here pretty shortly that will also continue to assist in giving you a little bit of guidance on what you can do.
And thank you, Wendy. I think it's great guidance. The more, as Melissa says there in the chat, the more that we do to flood the Facebook page with positive things as well and positive responses to those posts, the better off we are. One thing I will caution you about is if you go there to make a positive comment, don't get into the practice of bashing those that have made a negative comment or entering into a war of words with them. That doesn't help either. Just post a new comment that's a positive comment, and always keep it on the up and up when you're in there helping us out. But the more positive comments we can get from you and your teams, the better. So, and with that, Russ, we are out of questions.
You know, just to give you a view on where we've been, the last week of February, we shifted to crisis management. Crisis management meant we met twice a day as a management team, and your view, your horizon gets very narrow. in those weeks from the first part of March into April, we brought our focus down. We were just trying to make sure that we were protecting everything we could, not knowing what was going to happen. And then April turned out to be a great, best month in company history. And then May, another 50% higher than April in terms of new starts, just a huge, you all surged in a wonderful, exciting, and brilliant way. And while we were able to take our foot off the crisis, we were right back into, now we have a different crisis. Now we're focused on making sure that shipping happened. And we've been meeting for a while every day, talking about what could we do, how are we moving, which products and things like that. Last week, as things started to have that light at the end of the tunnel, we started to get the response from our suppliers that we were going to be all back in stock shortly. We were going to be able to ship the free systems, that we were going to be all caught up, with just the lean chocolate and the prime and shine holding out into the middle of August. We were able to actually take a step back and go, all right, now it's time to prepare for the future again. Now we're not just focused on solving today's problems or this week's problems or even this month's problems. We're now starting to plan for what's the next normal. I've been using the phrase the next normal in just about every conversation I have these days. But I don't believe what we're living now is normal. I also don't believe we're going back to whatever happened in the past. It's time to carve out the next normal. And we're excited to have you carve that with us. What's the next generation of Zingular going to look like? What is the future of Zingular systems? What is the future of how we're going to communicate and be together? Are we going to be able to get together in large groups? Well, maybe in the future, but that future is maybe not in the short term. So how are we going to do it? What's the future of the passport program? How are we going to begin to find ways to continue to honor and recognize people in the way of the future? All that is the next normal, and it's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting to be able to have those kinds of conversations. It brought back to mind the conversations we were having way back when we talked about 50 and 15. Do you remember those conversations, those of you who were around? The 50 and 15 conversations? That was an exciting time. That 50 and 15, that was a heady experience, because 50 million in 2015, man, that was a leap. Then we made the leap to 100 million in 17. Now we're making the leap into the next echelon of our future. We're excited to have you go with us. That's where we are now. We're on that threshold of 200 million and beyond. I was interviewing a potential member of our board of directors last week, and she'd done some homework on us, and she was a little breathless about, wow, you guys are really growing in a way that makes sense, taking care of your distributor field, taking care of the corporate finances so that you're prepared for decades to come, not weeks and months, not quarters, but forever. That's still our goal, even as we've been focused on solving short-term problems. So our anticipation is that next week's Monday night call, Monday night, the 10th of August, will be the last one of these that we do. Because we anticipate by then the message will be, we're now ready to begin resuming essentially normal shipping window delivery. So we're going to do this next week. If we need to extend it 1 week, we will. We'll still be as transparent as we can be with you about where we are. But it is our anticipation that next Monday's call will be the last one of these sort of crisis level shipping calls that we do with this management team. Anything else to add, Curtis?
No, just where we started. We're excited. Great progress has been made and will continue to be made this week and into next week. And so don't hesitate. Don't wait for those next 10 days to go by. Put your foot back on the gas. It's time to go now. We're ready for it, and we're excited for it, and we hope you are too. So thank you all for your continued efforts to work with your customers, work through the frustrations,